What up? What is happening? Happy Sunday, December 13th to all of you. Thank you for watching odds.com. It is our big NFL pregame show, and we're coming off a good week. It's almost a great week. We're coming off a good week. We're coming off a monster week in college football, a monster week in college basketball. So let's finish this week off in glory. Bebsy, how you doing on this Sunday morning, my man?
Jimmy, I'm doing good, buddy. I'm feeling good about today. I got some interesting looks on a couple of props, getting excited for. So let's get into it. Let's have some fun today.
Let's have some fun. I added 4 bets this morning. I doubled up on Chase Claypool props. I took the Bengals team total under 20.5. I know that's very dangerous with this shoddy Cowboys defense, but I also took the Cowboys -3 on a very short week, which dangerous. But I just think the Bengals are trash. Let's give a big welcome to everybody joining us here. K-Paul VIP in the house, Mr. Funmug, Dan Kelly, Nuke Worker, JT, M. Strohs ready to get to work. No weather issues in today's game. Maybe some light rain in Seattle. You're absolutely right, Nuke Worker. Another day of great weather for us, which makes things easier. Amsterdam. What else? Top set ready to go. We got Steve in the house, David Sharp, Iceman, DJ Big Boss. DJ Big Boss coming off a 3-0 day on his best bets in the college show. Man, we had a great college show yesterday. And shout out to our John Ryan for the bet of the year, LSU Moneyline plus 900. Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast in the house. Arthur Mead Jr., Jarvis King, Birdie, Swervin, Black Thor King. Hey, speaking of LSU Moneyline, Black Thor King also plus 850. Man, John Ryan, Black Thor King, big old balls. Kevin Ponechera ready to get to work. Cash action bets. Jake Kaiser, Brian Weatherford, Vegas Marv, AB, Lily Gunn, Lee Federchek, the real Jolly Roger Intex. All right, so just a little housekeeping here, Bebsy. Nice job on the Tuesday game. Little casher for you on the Tony Pollard prop. You want to walk us through how you cash that?
Actually, I had pretty well given up on it, and he got a garbage time draw play that put him up to 22 yards on the nosed, cash by a half yard. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. That moves you to 59-50, hitting at 54.1%, plus 1.70 units, an ROI plus 1.56%, average line minus 114, and you're coming into the week 1-0. Nutflush Allen joining us. His son, Caden, a great baseball player, great guy, says, Caden and I currently catching fish on the water now before we head home to watch the tickets. Cash love the Nutflush Allen family. Cordero Lindsay, Ixnizzle. What a great group. Rico Montana. I went 1-1 on the Patriots game. Patriots plus 5 -110, a bad loss. New England Rams under 44.5 -110. I was afraid to double up on the under. Wish I had of. 1-1 for me. I'm sitting with a rough year, but enough time for me to turn it around. 82-86, 48.8% down, 14.94 units. ROI minus 8.89%. Average line minus 111. All right, Bebsy, it is time to attack, my friend. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Let's get to work. We are going to go down the rotation numbers, and Bebsy had 17 bets last week. That was just the most that he's had in any day so far. I believe it was 17. I think we had 7. You were 17. I was 16. We went 19-14 plus 2.88 units. Bebsy only has 5 looks so far. 6 looks so far. Why don't we just quickly go over our looks? Texans -114 money line. KC Miami first half under 24. That market's gone a little bit away from us. Giants +3 at -115. Colts first half -115. Bills first half -1 at -110. Bills full game -1.5 at -109. Any of those bets you're a little nervous about? Any of those bets you're bullish on?
No, I'm still feeling pretty good about it. I really like the this indie play right now. It's just as this week's going on, I feel stronger and stronger about India. Might add full game to that as well.
Interesting. I have Texans -1. All my spots are at Bet365, so I can't get some of the lines that Bebsy gets when we line shop for him at the legal American sports books. Texans -1, Houston, Chicago over 44.5, KC, Miami first half under 24, Giants money line. The two mistakes back to back. They're the only mistakes I have. Giants money line. I could have got a better line. I got +115. It was a mistake. Vikings +6.5. That turns out to be a mistake. And I had -105 juice. I probably should have waited at that point. I'm also on the Minnesota Tampa Bay over 51.5. Beat that market move. I'm on Washington, San Francisco over 43.5. It's pretty much there. There are some 44s. I doubled up on the Bills as well. First half, full game. I'm on the, and then my additions I said Cowboys -3. Bengals team total under 20.5. Claypool anytime TD. Claypool over 42.5 receiving yards. All right, let's get to work right now. Oh, and Jacob is playing today. Josh Jacob is playing today. Last minute news from Birdie. Interesting. Jake Kaiser loving the Chiefs today. Says fading Tua. JT on Colts -2.5 and full game over 26.5. Brooklyn Funk Project ready to roll. Aaron may be in the house. Let's get right to work. We are going to start with Tennessee Jacksonville. I don't, for some reason, and as you guys know, I have totally different notes on the Sunday show than I do on the Tuesday show. And then I realized this morning, I shot NCAA basketball late with Max last night. I realized this morning that I still am out of order, and I didn't have time to switch it around, which is annoying. So let's stay with the rotation numbers, and I'll just move around through my notes. We're going to start with Tennessee, Jacksonville. We didn't move on this game, Bebsy, but you were very interested in the Derrick Henry rush prop. I wonder if you could look that up on Bet365 while I'm breaking this game down. Titans 8-4, 4-1 on the road at Jacksonville Jaguars, 1-11, 1-5 at home. TIA, Bankfield, Jacksonville, Florida, 71 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. Jacksonville opened up at 7-point home dogs. That's moved to 7.5. This total opened up at 54. It's now at 52.5 or 52. Titans coming off ugly 41-35 loss at home to the Browns. They were down 38-7 at halftime. Tannehill threw for 389 yards, fourth highest total of his career. He's thrown at least one TD pass in 9 straight games. Corey Davis, career high 11 catches for 182 yards. Titans ranked third in the NFL in scoring, averaging 29.9 points per game. 8 turnovers, just 8 through 13 weeks. Tied for fewest in the NFL. Third in the league with a +9 turnover margin. Derrick Henry had a rare game off, 15 rushes for 60 yards. And I think that was part of the reason why Bebsy thought he was going to bounce back. But Bebsy, we've noticed that Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are both slowing down. And it's very difficult to take the pummeling that they do week in and week out, even though they're monsters. Their defense was shredded for 4 TDs through the air in the first half. The injury report is so big today, week 14 of the season, that I couldn't add it into my notes. It was just enormous. So I'm just going to go to the injury report instead of filling up my notes with them. So let's go to the Tennessee Titans injury report right now. And it's massive. Kenny Vaccaro, illness, out. That's an important loss. Safety. Cornerback Breon Borders, injured reserve. Cornerback Adoree Jackson, out with a knee injury. Offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson, out. We have wide receiver Adam Humphries, injured reserve, concussion. Defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, injured reserve, season ending. Chris Jackson, cornerback, another cornerback, out, reserve COVID list. Offensive tackle Ty Sambraio, injured reserve. I mean, they've got you guys already know about these other guys on the injured reserve. It's from earlier in the season. Christian Fulton, Jalen Brown, done for the year. For the questionables, Derek Roberson, their linebacker, hip injury, questionable. But the Vaccaro safety out is very big. What do you think, or what is that Derrick Henry prop? And what do you think about the Titans today as a big home or big road favorites?
Look, the Derrick Henry prop is it's set at 108.5. So I'm not touching it. I was hoping that him having an off week last week, and I don't think he looks tired. He could very well be beaten up. He hasn't been injured, so he's taken a ton of shots this year. But I was hoping that maybe the books might sleep a little bit and have it down, because Derrick Henry always has monster games against Jacksonville. I mean, that 99-yard rumble that sort of catapulted him into the forefront was against Jacksonville. And I think he has a big game. I just can't lay money on 108.5.
Way too high. Way too high. I agree.
Yeah, too high. Look, I think there's a bit of value in the Jags here. Just they've managed to hang tight with a lot of teams, and we've seen Tennessee play up and down to their opponents time and again. So I see that as a good play here. I see that Birdie is already on the Jags. I like it. I respect it. I can't jump on with them because it is the Jags. But, look at the balls on Birdie today.
The bet makes a ton of sense. It certainly does. Let's talk about these Jags. Coming off their 11th straight loss, 27-24 in overtime in Minnesota, lost 11 straight, longest single-season skid in franchise history. Mike Glennon makes his third consecutive start. He was 28-42 for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also lost a fumble. James Robinson ranks third in the NFL with 968 yards rushing, needs 32 against the Titans to hit 1,000. First-time drafted rookie to reach that through 14 weeks of the season. If he can accomplish that. He's topped 90 yards from scrimmage in 6 consecutive games, longest active streak in the NFL. And our David Sharp gives some really interesting insight because you hear those stats and you think, wow, why don't I make a move on him as a prop? But total yards have cashed in 5 straight games, but his rushing prop hasn't cashed. So that's a great, great note, David. Thank you for that. And we'll go into the injury report, but they're going to be without starting center Brandon Linder, ankle injury, which leaves rookie guard Ben Barch to make his first career start. Barch, 4th-round draft pick from Division III, St. John's University of Minnesota. And for other prop looks, Colin Johnson is rolling. 8 receptions, 162 yards with a touchdown, 2-point conversion in the last 2 weeks. Let's go over the Jacksonville injury report quickly here. And is it as mighty as the others? Sorry. This is going to be a pain. Here we go. So quarterback Sidney Jones questionable with Achilles. Linebacker Kamale Correa, hamstring questionable. As I said, Brandon Linder out, ankle injury. Tight end Tyler Eifert, who's very important, shoulder injury. And Greg Mabin questionable. And they've had guys on the injured reserve whom we've talked about often, most notably like Josh Allen, DJ Hayden, cornerback Chris Claybrooks. Quarterback tight end. Actually, he's not that bad. Devon Hamilton, defensive tackle. That's what's going on there. I like Birdie's move. I think this makes sense. I, too, don't know if I have the balls, but this plus 7.5 makes sense. The more I talk about it, the more I want to do it.
Yeah, I do. I do really like Birdie's look here. I'm not jumping on it because I'm a little uncomfortable putting anything on the Jags, but I like it, and I agree. It does make sense. I think the Jags have the ability to keep this game close, and not to sound like a broken record, but the Tennessee Titans they often play up and down to their competition, and I think this is going to be another one of those games. But
you're not willing to put a bet on it.
I'm not. I'm not. There's other spots for me on this card, and this one isn't it. But I like it.
I'm interested in it. So I'm just going to put a question mark beside it right now. Plus 7.5. Okay. Plus 7.5. Top set has a play on the first half on Tennessee. Okay. Let's move down the rotation number here. No official bet so far. Now we move on to Dallas, Cincinnati. Dallas opens up at -3.5 to now -3 across the board. I did move on them. I got -115. It looks like it's 110 now. It is. It's a little disheartening. Okay. This total at 43.5 opener is moved to 44. I almost moved on the under. I decided not to and to just focus on the Bengals team total under, and that is very dangerous. The juice was so high. I just didn't think I would still get 20.5 before kickoff. Viper MB is on the Cowboys. DJ Big Boss says bum fight. There's Nilo in the house. David Sharp is Dallas first half and full game. I don't dislike that at all. All right, let's break this spot down. Paul Brown Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, 44 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 3 miles per hour. There's almost no wind anywhere on the eastern seaboard. Dallas Cowboy 3-8, 1-4. Or northeastern, I should say. Cincinnati Bengals 2-9-1, 2-3 at home. Dallas loss would tie the franchise longest losing streak against AFC teams at 7. They're on a short week after the 34-17 loss of Baltimore on Tuesday. Andy Dalton 31-48 for 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Faces his old team here. Michael Gallup 7 catches for 86 yards, the touchdown against the Ravens. Mike McCarthy's 14-25-1 since the start of his last full season in Green Bay. Cowboys Zeke Elliott, 5 touchdowns rushing through 5 games, none since he's going to play with a calf injury. He ran 18 times for 77 yards against the Ravens. The Dallas defense is last in the NFL in points allowed and yards rushing, but they don't need to worry about that with mixing out. If Giovanni Bernard, I mean, what do you say good about him these days? He doesn't fumble the ball. That's it. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Let's take a quick look at their injury report here. So Zeke, questionable with a calf, is going to play. Anthony Brown, cornerback, out. Donovan Wilson, safety, out. Cameron Irving, offensive tackle, injured reserve. Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback, out. And then we already know about Zach Martin on the injured reserve with the calf injury. Safety Stephen Parker also was put on injured reserve. Those both December 7th. Everything other than that is earlier in the year. Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, being the big one. Offensive tackle Tyron Smith as well. That is the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think of my action here on the Cowboys, Bebsy, before we get into the Bengals? Cowboys -3 and Bengals team total under.
I don't hate it. My only concern is the Dallas Cowboys are led by just a terrible coach. We said this in the offseason that Mike McCarthy was not the answer in Dallas. You fire Garrett for being vanilla, for being a non-creative garbage coach that couldn't do anything with the players that he had, and you hired him with his slightly older clone. It was a terrible decision by them. So I can't get behind Dallas, but I understand why you would be. They are a much better team on paper. They should be able to win. I have trouble laying money with them right now because of the way they have been playing. I too don't buy into this Andy Dalton revenge game, as I think somebody mentioned in the chat. I just don't believe it. I don't believe in it. I don't think he has enough gusto to have revenge in him. There is a play I like, and I feel a little bit nervous because of the way it cashed on Tuesday. But the Pollard rush prop is sitting at 31.5, I think. Yeah, 31.5. And I think just with this injury to Zeke, I think he's got to get a lot more touches today. So I'm going to jump on that Pollard rush prop. That said, McCarthy's an idiot, so maybe he just keeps running Zeke regardless of the injury. But I really like the Pollard rush prop again. I just see it viable because I think he winds up getting more carries.
Yeah, I get it. Is that at -120?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get that for you. Over 31.5 rush yards, -120. I bet 3, 6, 5, 4. Bebsy, yeah, I get it. All makes sense to me. David Sharp says Bebsy and Pollard soon to be a love-hate relationship. Okay, let's move over to Bengals. Oh, say what, Bebsy?
It could be. I mean, I hate going back to it after the way it cashed on Tuesday because it should have cashed. I should have lost that bet. But I do believe that today is a better play for it.
Yeah, no, I have no qualms. Let's talk about the Bengals quickly. Coming off their 4th straight loss, 19-7 setback in Miami. Cincinnati only had 25 yards of offense after halftime. Brandon Allen struggled again, going 11 for 19, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He looked good early with a 72-yard TD pass to Tyler Boyd. That was a short pass that he took to the house. Boyd did. He was sidelined with a late chest injury. He's fine, good to go. Finley did replace him. Very conservative, 6 for 7 for 40 yards. The miss was an interception. As a team, the Bengals only ran 40 yards on 17 carries, which makes them extremely easy to defend. And they're going to try to run often against the Cowboys' very porous rush defense. Cincinnati's defense was strong. They held the Dolphins to just 1 for 10 on 3rd down. I wonder if the better play, looking back at it, was the full game under 44. I'm certainly not gonna double up now. And now thinking about the juice that I paid, it probably was. Wide receiver, the full game under being the better play. Wide receiver T. Higgins caught 5 passes for 56 yards, tweaked his hamstring, questionable. Bengals safety Von Bell, 10 or more tackles, 2 of his last 3 games. Jonah Williams' knee put on injured reserve. Darius Phillips' groin came off that list. And T. Higgins expected to play. Cornerback Mackenzie Alexander, questionable as well with a knee injury. As I said, Jonah Williams put on injured reserve. Safety Brandon Wilson, questionable. And no Joe Mixon, no Auden Tate. I'm comfortable with this spot. Actually, I understand exactly what Dennis is saying. Cowboys is a favorite. Good luck with that. I get it. Not applicable. Ass wipe game of the night. Well put. But in saying all that,
wordsmith.
Not applicable is very funny cat, and he was well known for his the shitting the bed play of the day. He would tell us what team would shit the bed, and he was unbelievably accurate.
I'm not knocking it. I love it. I love referring to it as the ass wipe game of the night because it's that's exactly what that is.
But I'm comfortable here. So I'm on Cowboys. I get your Tony Pollard rush prop. It does make sense. That might be something worth tailing for me.
I mean, if you've got the kind of money invested in Zeke that you do, and he's playing with a calf injury, McCarthy's. We've already established that McCarthy's an idiot, but you hope that he has enough sense to at least give him a reasonable rest today. Like just a low number of carries. Don't throw Zeke out there getting. I mean, the guy's still a good running back. He's had a bad year, but the whole Cowboys team has had a bad year. So,
Nuclear says Cowboys defense on pace to give up the most points in league history. Seattle was on that pace too, and Ken Norton Jr. turned that around. Eric Chang on the Hurts rush yards over 39.5. We wanted to know what that was going to be on Tuesday, and I think that might be a tail for Bebsy and I, but we will get there shortly. I think I'm going to tail that Pollard. It just makes a ton of sense here. Okay, so let's move on to Chiefs. Oh, no, sorry. We go down the rotation order. Next up is Arizona, New York Giants, and this was a mistake. Upset about it. I should have waited. It looks like DJ is going to play. The books are now 2.5s. There are still some 3s. I should have waited. The total has gone from 45 to 47. I'm on the money line. Bebsy got the +3 already. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, 59 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Arizona Cardinals 6-6, 3-3 on the road. Giants 5-7, 2-3 at home. Cardinals coming off 38-28 loss at home to the Rams. Arizona's number 2 offense in the league was limited to just 232 yards. They've lost 3 straight, 4 of 5. Murray was on pace for 1,000 yards rushing. That's changed. He's averaged just 20.3 yards on the ground last 3 games, lost to Seahawks, Patriots, and Rams. That's from Arizona ranking 4th overall rushing, still averaging 150.6 yards per game. And Murray is, talking about it because it's a huge part of what's going on with the Cardinals team. And he doesn't mention his shoulder ever. Just says that he's being defended differently, which I do not believe. Larry Fitzgerald reinstated. Now, he's not had a big year from that COVID list. 43 catches, 336 yards, no touchdowns. But just having him on the bench is a big deal and very, very helpful for the squad. Kenyon Drake, questionable with a hip injury. Cornerback Jonathan Joseph, injured reserve. Place kicker Zane Gonzalez out with a back injury. Isaiah Simmons, questionable to play. Another linebacker, Devondre Campbell, questionable with an ankle injury. Safety Jalen Thompson out. Kelvin Beachum, offensive tackle, questionable. I mean, this is a team dealing with injuries to the secondary, and that can hurt them here, especially if DJ's back. Giants coming off handing the Seattle Seahawks their first home loss of the season, 17-12 win. Riding a 4-game winning streak. They could become NFL's first team to start winless in 5 and make the playoffs. The Giants sacked Russell Wilson 5 times, led by Leonard Williams 2.5. DJ is expected to be in the lineup. This Giants defense during this winning streak has held each of the last 4 opponents to 20 points or less. They held Seattle to 12 points. They've moved up to number 11 in the league in rushing. after rushing for at least 100 yards in 7 straight games, 8 of 9. Their run defense is also stepping up in a big way, now 4th overall in the league, giving up an average of 96.7 yards. Wayne Gallman rushed for a career-high 135 yards last week. Bebsy was on that prop, and it was just a beautiful bet that I'm very upset. It was sitting at 50. I mean, he cleared it by, 80 yards? Let's just take a quick look at the injury report here for the Giants. We have, of course, Daniel Jones questionable. Cornerback Madre Harper, injured reserve. Linebacker Blake Martinez, questionable. Offensive tackle Matt Pert, questionable. Darnay Holmes, cornerback, questionable. But other than that, this team is pretty healthy. Bebsy, how do you feel about your Giants +3, and is there any additions you'd like to make?
I still like it a lot. Again, until I see Murray playing like he was before, I'm going to fade Arizona. They're just not the same when he can't be dynamic, and he's obviously playing hurt. I saw somebody in the chat saying that they got DeAndre Hopkins pass prop low. I saw it at 68.5. I do think that's a bit low. I can't jump on it again, though, based on the way Murray is playing, and he's clearly hurt. He's clearly timid. Maybe he should be given a week off to heal properly. What I am going to add, though, is the Gallman rush prop again. It's still sitting at 55.5, and I think that's a well I can maybe go to this week and next week before it starts to correct itself. I see him getting more and more carries and being a force in this offense. He's woken up and they're figuring out how to use him. So I like this Gallman rush prop. As long as it's sitting around 50 yards, I'm going to jump on it. So 55.5, it feels like another easy cash for me.
Wow. It's unbelievably low at this point. Now, I can't I have a rule about backing a rush prop after a career day. So I won't. I'm going to have to stick strong to that rule, but that makes a ton of sense. I'm going to add this for you right now. So this is Gallman over. It's 55.5 minus 120.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Hopkins also dealing with a neck injury. So he was questionable all week. He's going to be good to go, but that's got to be another reason why it possibly is down. Okay. Birdie says the reason the Gallman prop's not moving is because Giants will be playing from behind in this one.
Birdie, with all due respect, I disagree. I don't see them playing behind. I love the way the Giants defense is playing right now, and I think I think Joe Judge is doing a good job there.
He is.
And I don't see this as, if they are playing from behind, I don't think it's going to be 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I'm going to stick with that. I feel good about it.
All righty. There you go. Let's keep rolling along. Let's see what's next here on the rotation numbers. We move over to Texans, Bears. I like this spot. Texans, Bears, Soldier Field, Chicago, Illinois, 33 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, just 4 miles per hour wind in the Windy City. Being great weather for Chicago so far this winter. Houston opens up at minus 2.5. That goes down to -1. This total has been sitting at 46 all week. I got in on the -1. I also got in on the over 44.5. You know what? I crushed this. Oh no, did I not? Yeah, that's got the wrong book for openers. Oh no, I don't. That was the Bet365 opener. Interesting. Very, very interesting, because I got it at 44.5, so I beat this by 1.5 points. We did think the wind was going to be in double digits, low double digits on Tuesday. That was not the fact once it comes to Sunday. Let's talk about the Texans coming off 26-20 loss at home to the Colts. Deshaun Watson thrown for more than 300 yards in the 3 straight games. First game without a TD pass last week. Kiki Kute had a career-high 141 yards receiving last week, Houston's first full game since Will Fuller was suspended for PEDs. Kute has a knee injury, but he's expected to play. David Johnson returned from his concussion with 10 carries for 44 yards, but he's out due to personal reasons this week. I did not like hearing that. J.J. Watt had a season-high 4 tackles for losses last week. He certainly is stepping up right now, and it's good to see. It's good to see. And it's part of the reason why I'm on them. So Kute questionable with a knee injury. Brandon Cooks questionable with foot and neck. John Reed, cornerback, ruled out with a neck injury. Philip Gaines, quarterback, out with knee and shoulder injury. Farrell Brown, tight end, out with a concussion. A.J. McCarron, who cares, questionable. Jonathan Greenard, linebacker, questionable. And as I said, David Johnson, out. Won't be available. So it's too bad. They need him in this situation. Mr. Funmonk says Houston rolls here. JT says Cooks is out. Nilo loving that Gallman rush prop. Bears coming off a wild 34-30 loss at home to the Lions. Defense got lit up for 460 yards by Detroit. Stafford threw for 402. Chicago tied with Detroit for last place in the NFC North. Bears on a 6-game losing streak. Their worst skid since they tied the franchise record by dropping 8 straight in 2002. And now we get to see another quarterback that they could have had they not traded up to draft Trubisky. They could have had Deshaun Watson. They took Trubisky over Mahomes and Watson. Trubisky did have a good week last week, 108.3 rating. Second start since returning from the Nick Foles sadness injury. Bears ran for 140 yards last week after gaining 121 against Green Bay. They had gone 7 straight games without reaching double digits. Montgomery carried 17 times for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Our man, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, Clint, was all over that and a nice catcher. And Allen Robinson, 904 yards receiving, looking very, very strong this year. Linebacker James Vaughters out, knee injury. Buster, their cornerback Buster, is concussion. Too bad. So he's ruled out. Linebacker Khalil Mack still dealing with the shoulder injury, so he's questionable. Wide receiver DeAndre Carter placed on reserve COVID list. Betsy, how do you feel about your spot on the Texans? How do you feel about my over?
I still really like the spot on the Texans. Again, just the body language and the frustration from Watson last week. I think regardless of who's around him, I think he goes off this week. He's going to put that team on his back, and they will beat the Bears today. I don't know if I feel as comfortable with your over look. I don't have a good read either way, so it's not that I think you're wrong. It's just that I don't know if I would also jump on it. So, yeah, I think it's reasonable for it to go over, but also, I don't know. I don't have a ton of faith in it.
Yeah, I hear that. Extension on Watson anytime TD. Dennis Garcia on the under 46. Pepper agreeing with that Watson anytime TD. There's Nate Dogg joining us. Great to see you. And actually, wait, talking about the Kirk Cousins over 269.5. He's been completing that consistently. Not applicable says Bears are a sinking ship. Every time I hear that, I think of Shea Hillebrand writing that on the chalkboard in the Blue Jays clubhouse. It had to be 10, 12 years ago. Writing that in big letters that we are a sinking ship and then going to get his coffee. What a guy he was, Shea Hillebrand. All right, Texans -1. You're right. You know what? I'm not bullish on this Texan spot and Houston, Chicago over 44.5. I don't hate it, but I'm not sitting here very confident with it. I hope the Bears are a sinking ship. All right, let's keep rolling down the rotation numbers. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. Odds.com, Sunday, December 13th, 11:35 a.m. Eastern. We are an hour and 25 minutes before kickoff. And next up, going down the rotation numbers, is Denver, Carolina. This was interesting. If this COVID, if we had more information on what's going on with COVID with Carolina, I would have moved on them yesterday. I really think Denver's vulnerable right now with all these cornerbacks out. This total opened up at 47. It's down to 45. Carolina opened up at -3.5. It's now at -4. Sorry, let me move over here. I got to search through these notes. Oh, here we go. Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina, 66 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 6 miles per hour. Broncos 4-8. Panthers 4-8. Broncos 2-4 on the road. Panthers 2-4 at home. Broncos coming off a tough 22-16 loss at Kansas City. They did a lot right. First downs, kept Mahomes off the field, shut the Chiefs down in the red zone, but still couldn't get the win. Drew Lock 15-28 for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Broncos have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Drew Lock's 13 interceptions lead the AFC, 2 off of Carson Wentz's league-leading 15. Over his 2 seasons in the NFL, Lock is now throwing 16 touchdown passes, 16 interceptions, and 14 starts. Melvin Gordon ran for a season-high 131 yards last week. Broncos are without their top 3 cornerbacks: Bouye, PED, Bryce Callahan, Foot, and Asang Bassi, would look very good. The rookie, knee injury done. So they're going to turn to Devontae Bowsby, rookie Michael Omahudia, and Kevin Tolliver Jr., also Duke Dawson Jr., and they just got Will Parks in. So those guys will come in with some of the sub packages. Jerry Jeudy whined like a little bitch this week. He wrote, "At least I got my conditioning in," with a shrugging emoji. Great to see him using emojis like the child he is. Jeudy played 49 snaps, was targeted 1 time. Didn't catch the ball. And let's go over to Denver's injury report here. And Trey Marshall, safety, out. Tyreek Cleveland, wide receiver, out. Graham Glasgow, guard, out. They put tight end Jake Butt on injured reserve. Same with Bassie and Callahan, as I spoke about. So, Bebsy, we didn't move on this spot. We're going to get into the Panthers' COVID issues here in a second, but what do you think about these Broncos today?
Well, I mean, you've pretty much said it all. Jeudy whining publicly is just a bad look. I do think that's why he slipped a bit in the draft. People were talking about him as a top 5 talent, and we've seen his talent, but what are you doing tweeting shit like that? It's just a little sucky baby thing. So that combined with the injuries, the COVID, the PED scandals, it's just you have to be backing Carolina or nothing in this game because Denver's a mess. They're probably going to fire Vic Fangio. I think John Elway probably has too much respect for him to do it mid-season, but the coach is on the way out. The players are infighting. Some of the players are taking performance-enhancing drugs, and some of the players have COVID. It's just a messy, messy look in Denver right now. So it's got to be Carolina or nothing.
But I mean, I'd love if we could get the latest. If anyone could get us the latest COVID information coming in off their bye week, which was once a good thing before the pandemic. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games. McCaffrey going to miss his 4th straight game, 10th overall. Was expected to return. Tweaked his thigh during the bye week. Panthers could be without a bunch of players due to COVID. So DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. I mean, you need these guys if you want to attack this banged-up secondary. Linebacker Shaq Thompson, defensive tackle Derek Brown. None of these guys practiced Wednesday or Thursday. Robbie Anderson had 4 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown in week 12. One of 2 receivers with at least 4 catches in every game this season. Another player, Stephon Diggs. Rookie safety Jeremy Chin's been awesome. Uncle Steve Atwater, whom is, if you love football, you love Steve Atwater. So Jeremy Chin leads rookies in tackles with 83. So we have McCaffrey doubtful, Sam Franklin safety questionable. Dennis, and these are just injuries. This is not the COVID list. Dennis Daly guard out. DJ Moore out. Isn't going to be removed from the COVID list. So DJ Moore, sucks they don't have him. Trey Boston, hamstring injury, safety, out. Oh, no, questionable, excuse me. Ian Thomas, questionable, the knee injury. F.A. Obada, defensive end, questionable. Rasul Douglas, cornerback, questionable. Yeturgos Matos, questionable. Marquise Haynes, defensive end, questionable. I wish I could get – AB says Samuel came off COVID list. There's Arthur Meade Jr. It was great to join us. Thank you. I mean, I would love to back them here, but
with Moore out, I almost want to back Robbie Anderson's receiving yards.
What's it at?
77.5.
That's high, but
who's high, but they only have Curtis Samuel after him to pass to.
Yeah, he's got to be targeted nonstop. I mean, who's their number one?
Teddy loves him some Robbie Anderson.
Wow, AB says only 2 Carolina players remain on the COVID list. Oh, wow. Thank you, AB. That's very helpful. Birdie says this has to be a Denver spot, doesn't it? Say what you will that Broncos D shows up every week. I'm not playing it, but fun in my head. Plus Broncos plus the points.
That's the Vic Fangio effect.
the Robbie Anderson just makes so much sense, especially if Panthers are expected to have a good day. So it's just DJ Moore who I guess is not in lineup. So they're going to have Samuel. I'm just going to move over to this player prop, take a look at it. Anytime touchdown for Robbie Anderson, plus 110. And receiving yards. Receiving yards is at 77.5. 77.5. Are you going to pull the trigger there?
I want to. It's a bit high, but, Yeah,
Al Cervix says whole secondary out.
Yeah.
We get that in 3 catches.
I think I'm going to move on it.
Yeah, so am I. Robbie Anderson over 77.5 receiving yards, minus 120. Both of us. Okay. We roll. We roll on. What's next here? Got to speed this up a little bit. Next up, we have Vikings, Bucks. Mistake. Not waiting for the 7 when I could have. Very irritating. Bucks open up a 6.5-point favorite. That moves to 7. This total at 52.5. I got in at lower than that, I believe. I'm sorry, find this game here in my notes. Dolphins, come on. Show your ugly face. I apologize, you guys. This won't happen again. Out of order. Here we go. Vikings, Bucks, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, 72 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. I'm on the Vikings plus 6.5. I did get the over 51.5, so I beat that market move by a point. Vikings 6-6, 3-2 on the road. Buccaneers 7-5, 3-3 at home. Vikings coming off a very underwhelming 27-24 home win over the lowly Jaguars. 5th win in 6 games, but aren't instilling any confidence in anyone. Barely beating Carolina, and then losing to Dallas prior to that. Cousins 2nd in the NFL in TD passes with 9, 3rd in passing yardage with 926 over the last 3 weeks. He's rolling. Just rolling. At least 300 yards and 3 TDs in each game. Cook touched the ball 38 times in overtime win against Jacksonville. It's the second highest single-game total in team history. 32 carries for 120 yards, 6 catches for 59 yards. He has 1,564 yards from scrimmage, 14 touchdowns, despite missing a game with a groin injury. 286 total touches, the same as Derrick Henry. And then look at the drop-off. So Cook averaged 5.96 yards per rush over his first 7 games, now 3.66 over his last 4. Vikings red zone, nice. 3rd best in the league behind Arizona and Green Bay. 75% touchdown rate and 40 possessions inside the 20. And let's just quickly take a look at the injury report for these Vikings. Irv Smith, questionable. Their tight end, Kyle Rudolph, doubtful. That's not good. Alexander Madison, running back, out. Eric Kendricks, linebacker, out. Ooh. Kyle Rudolph, doubtful. Now we need Irv Smith. Irv Smith better get back in there. What do you think about these Vikes in Tampa today, Bebsy?
Look, I think the Vikings have impressed me with the way they've come back from their abysmal start to the season and their ability to come back in games that I pretty much thought they were done. But look, Cousins has been playing lights out as of late. But their injuries on defense and their question marks on offense right now. Like, if you don't have Rudolph or Irv Smith, you don't have a tight end. So I think it's a really tough spot to back the Vikings in this one. But I can't, in good confidence, lay anything with Tampa. They've been so underwhelming at times, and just like you don't know what Bucks team is going to show up. Like, sometimes they play lights out and you're like, wow, this team looks like a legit contender. And sometimes they play like absolute garbage. So I really don't know who to take in this one. I hate going to the props over and over, but I just think with, Barr's been out for a while, but with Kendricks out is Rob Gronkowski, not a good look here. Who's going to cover the tight end for the Vikings right now?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to talk about the Bucs. Could you look up that prop? Bucs coming off fresh off their bye week. Brady 14-4 in 18 career regular season games following a bye. 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. We last saw them in 27-24 loss at home to the Chiefs. Ronald Jones, 4th in the NFL in rushing with 820 yards, but the Bucs are just 27th in rushing yardage. Bucs have allowed league low averages in rushing yards per game and attempt. Dalvin Cook's going to be in for it. Jason Pierre-Paul, 8.5 sacks.
John Schwartz has got it up here at 37.5.
Really? 37.5. The touchdown prop might be better. Cameron Brate, illness, was added to the injury report, so he's not feeling well. That probably helps as well for Gronk to get more looks. Jamel Dean, cornerback, doubtful. And the Tampa Bay's a healthy squad. 35.5 at minus 130 at DraftKings, so you know they don't want you to bet that at DraftKings. If Schnizzle likes the over, I'm on it. David Sharp took Jones over 66.5 yards. Vikings can't stop the run. I like that look. Die Hard MMA says, what do we think about Dalvin Cook receptions over 4.5? I would have to study that more, Clint. You'd be a better... Chase Warwick says just hit the over. And the +3s are now available again if someone wants the Giants. I don't like seeing that. God, I should have waited on a couple spots here. Okay, so Bebsy, is there anything you want to add?
I want to move on that Gronk prop. I don't know what's holding me back. Maybe I'll write a question mark beside that, and I could add that later on. But
let me go to it here. So Gronk anytime touchdown +137. The receiving yards makes sense for him off the bye, doesn't it?
He's rested. Tom's rested. No Kendricks. It's a logical choice, which is when I make those plays and I lose, I don't feel bad about it. I'm like, well, it did make sense.
It does make sense, doesn't it? Over 37.5 receiving yards. Gronk. Does make sense, doesn't it? John Schwartz says no Kendricks is the edge. Okay.
I think I will add it.
The Prince of the City says lies. You lose, you're angry. Minus 120. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. All right, we're both on that prop. So I'm going to have 3 different spots that I'm attacking there. All right, let's continue to roll here. We're just moving down the rotation numbers. We're still on the 1 o'clock games. Just one more 1 o'clock game, that being Chiefs, Dolphins. This total opened up at 49 and went to 50.5. It was a mistake. Let's see what the first half is. That hook is so important on the 24, and it's gone up to 25.5 or 26.5. God, what a mistake. I should have known that people are always going to bet Chiefs overs. The public's always going to bet Chiefs overs. And that was just a real mistake that I made, I think. Well, no, clearly it was a mistake. Not I think. I mean, Bebsy and I got 24 here, and we should have got 25.5 or 26. It's really, really, really irritating. You're making me angrier. As I talk about it,
Jimmy, don't get angry. It's still going to cash, buddy.
Oh, God. Such a crucial number, too, that getting over the 24. It pissed me off. Chiefs are opening up at minus 7.5. They're now at 7. You can still get that 7.5. You'll get a plus number beside it. And as I said, the total's gone from 49 to 50.5. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida, 79 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 7 miles per hour. Chiefs 11-1, 6-0 on the road. Dolphins 8-4, 4-2 at home. We're both on that first half under 24. Chiefs coming off an underwhelming 22-16 win at home over the Broncos. If they win here, the Chiefs will have the best 13-game record in franchise history at 12-1. Andy Reid, look at this road record. Unbelievable. He's 108, 66-1 on the road. 618 winning percentage. Best in NFL history. Dolphins are second in NFL in Chiefs are second in NFL in point differential. Dolphins are fourth. And Chiefs failed to score a touchdown on 7 straight trips inside the red zone before Kelsey's 20-yard scoring catch. Crazy. Chiefs are second in the NFL with 14 interceptions, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire will return after missing last week's game with the flu. Kansas City's been healthy all year long as well. Let's just see what their injury report is telling us here. Ooh, the Honey Badger, questionable with a hip injury. I didn't know that. And then Damian Wilson, linebacker, out. And that's it. That's the only injuries over the last week and a half or 2 weeks or anything new. Prince of the City says that Dolphins will get their D exposed today. Schnizzle 2 units on KC. Birdie says, I'm on the Chiefs here. They've showed up for every playoff team. Miami has had a very easy schedule, skewing their defensive numbers. Chiefs big in this one. Dolphins have allowed the second fewest points in the NFL, wins in 7 of their past 8, coming off 19-7 win at home over the Bengals. They were just 1 for 10 on third down. Second scoring defense has allowed just 10 points over the last 2 games, held the Bengals to just 25 yards in the second half. Their 12-game record is their best since 2003. 9-3 against the spread this year. Tua Tagovailoa is 4-1 as a Dolphin starter. They reached 30 points only once in those games. And the big thing here is that Myles Gaskin went on the COVID list yesterday. It's a huge blow. They have Matt Breida still on the COVID list. Salvon Ahmed's shoulder injury already sidelined. So that means it's DeAndre Washington and Patrick Laird going to get the bulk of carries. That is not good. They brought up Elijah McGuire. They elevated him from the practice roster. They already ranked last in the NFL with an average of 3.7 yards per carry. Now they can't run. You know, the more I say this, and with this total going up and the spread moving down a half point, why don't we take Dolphins team total under? They're not going to be able to run the ball. Do we trust the Chiefs defense, or do we want to go full game under? Let me just add a couple things, Bebsy, before you jump in, but that's what I want, if you can answer that first. Coach Flores ran the Patriots defense in 2018 when they beat the Chiefs twice, including in the AFC Championship game. Dolphins are starting 3 rookies on the offensive line, and they actually looked okay last week, but that was against the Bengals. Austin Jackson, their left tackle, right guard Solomon Kinley, right tackle Rob Hunt, all 2020 draft picks. And Xavier Howard, 8th interception last week before he was ejected. Kyle Van Noy rolling. So Nate Dogg says Parker might not play. And Van Noy out. Van Noy out, says Zamora. Sorry, let's just quickly look at this injury report here. Myles Gaskin out. Eric Flowers out. Kyle Van Noy questionable, but I guess he's out, they say. And Landon Roberts, linebacker, questionable. And I said Ahmed and quarterback Jamal Perry, wide receiver Preston Williams. Bebsy, after all that breakdown, what are you thinking here? I'm thinking that the Dolphins aren't going to be able to score.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think I have a tough time evaluating Tua right now because, again, he's been up and down. The Chiefs' defense isn't terrible, but they're not great. Tyrann Mathieu injury is huge. If he's not ready to go, that's going to be a big thing. They've also have not played too well against like high-end tight ends this year. So I feel like if you're looking for a prop to throw on, I'm not going to throw this in, but I do like the Matt Gesicki prop. I just think, Waller having career days against this defense makes me excited about this play. I can't quite pull the trigger on it, and that's not a question about Gesicki. It's a question about Tua. But I think that prop is sitting at 45.5 right now on Bet365. I think that's a good look if I was going to add something in this. But the inconsistency from Tua frustrates me.
Intex says Honey Badger looked good in warm-up, just showed up on the NFL Network. Thank you for that, Intex. That's extremely important.
David Sharp saying they've gone crazy up 34 at the beginning of the week. Yeah, well, that would have been a lot nicer to get in on Tuesday.
What is it at now,
45.5.
If you had a choice between taking the Dolphins team total under 20.5 or this full game total under 51, what would you take?
I think I'd take the full game under. Again, we've seen the Chiefs a lot this year just play well enough to win. I think they're that kind of team right now. They know they're in the driver's seat. Obviously, they're going to want that first round bye, but I think they can slow play this game and still win. I'm not saying that that's Andy Reid's game plan. I just feel like this team. Look, we saw them dancing in the middle of a game this year. Like they know they're good. The disrespect of doing that is just you're astronomically better than a lot of the teams in this league.
Yeah, I think I am going to move, and I am going to move. I'm going to move on the under 51 and minus 110. Although I just don't want to invest too much into this game. I just don't want to invest too much into this game. But if we were just throwing out action, I would also add the team total under. I also don't want to add those team totals at minus 120 juice hurt. Full game under 51 and minus 110 for me. Chiefs Dolphins. Okay. God, I could easily add that. We've had this glorious week full of profits, and I don't want to sit here and be scared, but I have a ton of money invested already into this card, and I'm just going to put a question mark beside the Dolphins team total under. Okay. And Eric Jones saying it's going to be at 51. There's Ilya Katz. Ilya Katz in the house. Great to see you, Ilya. Okay. So anything for you to add here, Bebsy?
No, I'm not going to add anything. If I was to add something, it would be that Gesicki receiving yards prop. Again, my apprehension is with Tua, not Gesicki. If Fitzy's in, I'd be hammering that right now, but I'm still trying to get a read on what Tua is.
All right, those are the 1 p.m. games. Only took us 58 minutes to get through them, but there. AB says Miami's going to have to be more aggressive on offense, and he thinks that correlates to a team total under. Thank you, KBO Cuts. There's Pink Eye Genie in the house. OG Lowbagger, whom we love dearly. Okay, let's keep rolling. Moving into afternoon action. Again, we're just going down the rotation numbers. Really easy to follow. Indianapolis, Las Vegas. Indianapolis opening up at minus 2.5. Now minus 3s are a couple of them out there, but you can easily get the 2.5s. Just a little bit more juiced. This total opened up at 52. It's now at 52.5. And Bebsy... We move to my afternoon. This will be easier than the 1 o'clock. Bebsy moved on this. Colts first half. You got that money line at minus 115. That's a nice score. That's not available anymore. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. Raiders 7-5, 2-3 at home. Colts 8-4, 4-2 on the road. Colts coming off 26-20 win at Houston. They shut the Texans out in the second half. They're now allowing an average of 7.33 points in the second half of games this year. Jonathan Taylor activated off COVID list, ran 13 times for 91 yards. T.Y. Hilton, back-to-back really good games. Caught 8 passes for a season-high 110 yards and 1 touchdown. I'm sure his grandma is on him, and he's finally listening. Justin Houston, 3 sacks. 4th career safety as well. 7.5 sacks. Justin Houston still doing it, 31 years old. Left tackle Anthony Costanzo's absence ended his consecutive game streak at 20. He's left tackle, very good left tackle. So this would be the 4th straight lineup fourth straight week with a lineup change. Right tackle Braden Smith, hand injury, missed the Green Bay game. Center Ryan Kelly, neck, sat out the second Tennessee game. Costanzo was out against Houston. Remember, this offensive line was so good last year, but they were healthy, so healthy last year. So if Costanzo can't play, and I don't know if anybody has the latest, his backup, LaRaven Clark, went on IR this week with a torn Achilles tendon. So if Costanzo doesn't play, they bring in Chaz Green to get the start. And if you've ever met a tough guy named Chaz, I'd be shocked.
Not one.
No, you don't want someone named Chaz to protect you. Let's talk about this injury report and see if I can get any more information for you guys. Tyquan Lewis, defensive end, questionable. Costanzo, as we mentioned, questionable. Bobby Okereke, questionable. And then, as I said, LaRaven Clark on injured reserve. Let's start with the Colts before we get into the Raiders. You beat a line move. You got to feel good about that. First half minus 115. And are you thinking of doubling up here?
Yeah, I am going to double up. I had a question mark behind this on Tuesday. I wanted to see where it moved. I can get it at 2.5. I still very much like that. This Colts team, I think, is really going to get it together and tighten it up over the stretch. They've been obviously very good all year, with the exception of a couple of games, but I really like them to tighten up. And the Raiders are up and down. It took the Jets throwing the game, literally throwing the game, to lose, or for them to get a win last week. Now they're coming up against a much better team, top to bottom. It just has to be a double up spot for me. I'm not going to go crazy bullish on this, but I really think Indy rolls in this one.
A lot of money has been bet, says all the guys in our chat here. Let me see exactly what we are talking about. I have, with my information here, Colts Raiders. I don't have that. I've got that 61% of the tickets are on the Colts, but I have 64% of the cash on the Raiders. And then 79% of tickets on the over, 88% of tickets on the over, 79% of cash on the over.
Yeah, I'm seeing a 65-35 split here for bets online.
So Colts. Okay, so are we line shopping for you? This will be your first edition of a side.
Yeah, I'm gonna add the full game 2.5 here.
All right, well, let's line shop for you. 2.5s across the board at these legal licensed books, and a minus 106 is the lowest juice at FanDuel.
I'll take minus 106.
Bebsy, Colts, full game, minus 2.5. Minus 106, a rare cough. Okay. Schnizzle says, I also like Indy here. Colts D steps up in the second half, makes good adjustments. Westerner says, Raiders have been off and on all season. Hard to say which team shows up, which river shows up. I agree. I don't know what to do with this game, and I've got enough.
I think they've gotten smart with Rivers. They're not putting the game on his back. They're doing what they should have done right from the start, which is run the ball and just minimize Rivers' possibility for making mistakes. He's just a game manager at this point.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Paco Healy says buy a point. I'd be curious to see what that would cost at Bet365. Why don't we just take a peek right now? Now, at Bet365, the Colts are minus 110. If we were to buy that point for Bebsy and take – you buy the point if you're with the Raiders, I should say. You want that 2.5.
Yeah, I'm not interested in purchasing points.
Yeah, it's whale cap or selling points would be the term. Whale capper sells points with enormous success to lower down the juice, but it wouldn't help you that much here. You could get a minus. It doesn't make sense with the 2.5. Okay, let's roll. And we didn't talk about the Raiders. Let me talk about the Raiders a little bit before we move on. Sorry. Raiders coming off the ugly 31-28 win over the Jets that Pepsi was talking about. Carr, 28-47, 381 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Devontae Booker, 16 of 50, replacing Jacobs, but we did find out that Jacobs will be in the lineup. Cleveland Farrell, 2 strip sacks. Waller, 13 catches for 200 yards. What a beast. 4th tight end ever to have at least 200 yards receiving and 2 TD catches in the same game. monster. Also improving as a blocker. Raiders rode the run game to a 3-game winning streak to start November, averaging more than 190 yards rushing per game against Cleveland, the Chargers, and Denver. But that has struggled in recent weeks, 67 yards per game over the last 3 games, and that has to do with Jacobs' knee injury. And I heard that Jacobs was – we had someone in the chat saying that Jacobs was going to be in the lineup. Could anybody – Fat Wally says – she's looking good, guys, showing support. Chaz is my nephew, but you're right. He sucks at protection. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Chaz was your nephew, Wally. I wouldn't have hit him so hard there. So Jacobs, Trent Brown, Jonathan Abram, were questionable this week. All 3 practiced. So I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, that's if you have no – I guess you could be – Betsy, are you comfortable knowing that there's no that if Jacobs is in, he's hurt anyways?
Yeah, that doesn't. The fact that Jacobs has been injured so much as of late, I don't think that's playing into my choice too much one way or the other. I feel like he needs proper rest right now.
Alrighty. Jonathan Abram, questionable, as I said, Jacobs. Jeff Heath, their safety out with a concussion. Damon Arnett, questionable with a concussion.
I like that look from David Sharp. Not enough to jump on it, but I like that look.
On the Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay.
A sneaky look.
That is the first 405 spot. We move on to the next 405 spot. There's only 2 of them. Jets, Seattle. Seattle now 16.5-point favorites at some books. I've got them in my Survivor. I can't believe we're in week 14 and I can't win this thing. No one was on Seattle last week. There's just 3 people left. And I imagine none of them have used Seattle, the other 2 guys, so I imagine they're going to be on Seattle. The total opens up at 47, is now at 48.5. Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington, 44 Fahrenheit, light rain, 6 miles per hour. New York Jets 0-12, 0-5 on the road. Seahawks 8-4, 5-1 at home. Jets coming off their 12th straight loss, 31-28 at home to the Raiders. Darnold, 14-23, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ty Johnson looked very good after Frank Gore got concussed on that first play. Ty Johnson came in, ran 22 times for 104 yards. Greg Williams fired on Monday after that ridiculous all-out blitz call. Frank Bush takes over as New York's interim defensive coordinator. They're ranked 29th in total defense under Williams, 31st against the pass. And Denzel Mims out dealing with a family matter will miss the game. 19.5 points. I mean, 16.5 points sounds like too many. Let's just quickly look at their injury report. Frank Gore, questionable. Guard Greg Van Roten, injured reserve. Safety Ashton Davis, injured reserve. Safety Bennett Jackson, injured reserve. Wide receiver Jamison Crowder, questionable. Linebacker Jordan Jenkins out. Mims out. Bebsy, is there anything that interests you in this game?
There is actually. The spread is way too much. I don't want to play with it one way or the other because I think there is capability of Seattle actually covering this. But look, Mims is out. And he's been the best receiver on that team since he started playing. Gore, I think, is still out, even though Johnson played well last week. But Crowder is hurt. I think he's questionable. I don't know if he's playing or not. I think the Jets team total under is a look here. I just can't. I don't know how Seattle's defense has been brutal all year, but they have been playing better as of late. I think this is a legit look here.
Jason Lowry says Seattle by 20. Slats 45, great to see you. All right, and we have John Ryan joining us. 5 IPAs deep he went yesterday and richly deserved LSU plus 900. Wow, just adding to the legend of John Ryan. Let's see what the team total is here for these New York Jets. Not going to be much. 16.5. Heavily juiced to the under. Norton Jr.'s done a nice job with the defense over the last few games, but he also did such a shit job early in the season.
I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna jump on this. I know it seems low. I just see there's two theories here. One, they're obviously banged up. Two, you got to be pretty deflated if you're a Jets player and you see that your coaches are trying to lose games for you. Like I just can't see them coming out and playing hard in this one. I'm gonna take that team total under. I see them struggling to get to 10 points today.
It's heavily juiced to the under. That's the only thing that sucks about it. But
how is it that low and still heavily juiced to the under?
minus 138.
Oof.
Now I took that with the Bengals team total under. It's unbelievable. You're going to be with the Seahawks defense. I'm going to have the Cowboys defense. But Dennis Garcia is giving a final score of 24-6 Seattle. If that's the case, why aren't we on the under? 48.5. It's gone up to 48.5.
I don't want to play too much in this game because I don't trust Seattle at all. I don't know what team's going to show up. I cannot see the Jets getting anything going today. You know what? I'm going to do it even with the juice.
Okay.
Birdie, Seattle defense has been decent lately.
Let's stop. You don't need to be forced to take that juice. I have to be because I put out the bets I make at Bet365. Let's not force you with that juice. Let's see if I can give you something better. We'll quickly jump on FanDuel. So it'll just take me a quick second. I don't want you to sit there with a minus 138 if you don't have to have a minus 138. I mean, it's just, God, I hate those so much. Here we go. Let's see what I bet you FanDuel can give you something nicer here. Team total. Yeah, but okay, here, this is a nice option for you. You can have 16 instead of 16.5 and get minus 110.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so under 16 at minus 110 at FanDuel. Okay. Jacob Thiessen says, can you guys get on with this terrible game? Okay, I'm going to move as well. I'm going to move on the under 48. Is it under 48.5, I believe? Under 48.5. So then I can cheer a poor play. Okay. All right, let's roll. Jacob, we move on. We move on to 425 action. We're 45 minutes before kickoff. The first 425 action is Green Bay, Detroit. Packers open up at -8. They're now -8.5. This total's gone from 55 to 55.5. Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. Neither Bebsy and I have made a move on this game so far. Packers 9-3, 4-2 on the road. Detroit Lions 5-7, 1-4 at home. Packers coming off a 30-16. Oh shit! I didn't even break down the Seahawks in that breakdown, and we don't need to really. But I guess the only thing that needs to be talked about is Russell Wilson's passing rating, 93.5 over the past 7 games, where Seattle's gone 3-4. His completion percentage is down. 13 touchdown passes to 8 interceptions over that span. In that first 5 games, he had a pass rating of 129.8 with 19 touchdowns and 3 picks. After scoring at least 27 points in each of their first 8 games, the Seahawks have topped 27 points just once in their past 4. And let me just take a quick look at the injury report just so we can do due diligence here. Jamarco Jones, offensive tackle, out. Quentin Dunbar, cornerback, injured reserve. Running back Rashad Penny's not being used, out. Carlos Dunlap, still questionable with that foot injury. Okay, we move on. Lily Gunn saying, I like Green Bay over. They can score in domes. And Lily, that team total for Green Bay. It's great having Lily Gunn rolling with us. Half of the Vegas Gun team, whom we love so much. 33.5, Lily. I don't dislike it, but it's high. But I don't dislike it. Packers coming off 30-16 win at home over the lowly Eagles. I mean, they put up 30 when they, outdoors, so why wouldn't they get over 33.5? Aaron Rodgers, 25-34, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Devontae Adams, 10 catches for 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones ran 15 times for 130 yards. Rodgers, 36 touchdown passes. That's the NFL high. He's completing 69% of his passes. That's his highest ever as a starter. Being picked off on only 1% of his passes. Devontae Adams has a touchdown reception in 7 straight, equaling the franchise record set by Hall of Famer Don Hudson. We know that Aaron Rodgers knows the storied history of the Packers very well. Devontae Adams is about to have his own record in Green Bay lore. And I just think that Aaron Rodgers will make sure that happens. Now, the anytime touchdowns minus 225, so I won't be doing that. All right. After catching only 1 touchdown in 2018 and 2019, Robert Tonyan, 8 touchdowns. He's tied with Kelsey for the most among tight ends. Aaron Jones rushed for a career high 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 passes when these guys met last out, when these teams met. Wonder if he can easily get that again. And they're a pretty healthy squad. Tight end Jay Sternberger being ruled out. Reserve guard Simon Stepaniak, knee, also won't play. Safety Darnell Savage, groin. Equanimus Brown, St. Brown, knee concussion. And Malik Taylor are questionable. Bebsy, before we get into the Lions, we haven't moved on this spot. Does anything interest you?
No, I agree with Lily Gunn's look in that Green Bay can score in bunches. It's just especially in domes. I just think that we've seen them time and again get up and then just manage the game, run the ball, drain clock. So it's too big of a spread for me to jump on. And that said, I'm certainly not going to lay any money with the lowly Detroit Lions, even with their newfound lease on life now that Matt Patricia's gone. I just can't get excited about this game.
So Lions so bad against the run. Do we want to try to take advantage of that? Let's go with take a look at rush yards quickly. Is there any interest in you? Aaron Jones, 66.5. Jamal Williams. Wow, it's 29.5. David Sharp's getting 22.5, 29.5 in my book. Any interest in trying to abuse that, Bebsy?
I just feel like Aaron Jones has been a lot streakier this year than I want him to be. So I get I see that this is an opportunity here. It's just not. It's not one that excites me. I think Aaron Jones should absolutely be able to crush that.
Does it? I mean, do we see the Packers playing ahead on the road here and running the ball and killing time? Sort of feels like a spot that you've taken advantage of with these two guys betting them both.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that one covers the other. Yeah, if one guy's not, and look, if Aaron Jones gets rested, then Jamal Williams should crush that prop. But if Aaron Jones is rolling, and again, like there's an opportunity for them both to hit.
Well, I am going to move on it. Aaron Jones over 65.5.
Oh, Al Cervic calling me a buzzkill. Come on. Come on, Al. I thought we were friends.
Jamal Williams over 29.5. Just feels like that spot. All right, I
am gonna do that move today, just not in this game.
Okay. All right, let's keep rolling here. Brady says he's the only spot this week where there's value in the money line on the dog. I believe this Lions money line's wide open. I don't think it will happen, but the only place where it could happen. Okay. I like that. I think this makes sense.
Birdie and I have never been more polar opposites in a week, and I don't know if I love that or hate that.
Crash 99 says, what about the Adrian Peterson TD prop? DeAndre Swift is playing, which takes a little luster away, but you still think they probably go to Peterson at the goal line. I don't hate it. And who got me? Who is this? An Al Cervic spot? Who is the one that got me on this? Swift is a player, the guys are saying. I need to know who to thank when this cashes. I think it will. Oh, David Sharp. Okay, we move on. We're just going down the rotation numbers. And next up is Falcons, Chargers. I got to speed up here. Falcons, Chargers. Falcons open up at -2.5. Chargers are now 1.5-point favorites. God. What a spectacular week I would have had if I hadn't doubled up on the Chargers. 49.5 was the opening total. It's now down to 49. I didn't talk about the Lions. Sorry. Lions coming off that winning debut for Darrell Bevel. Hawkinson rolling right now. Looking so good. Marvin Jones got 8 passes for 116 yards. Stafford 27-42 for 402 yards. We know that DeAndre Swift is going to be in the lineup. Is there anything else that we need to worry about from the Detroit Lions injury report? Come on. Okay, here we go. Detroit Lions, Stafford, thumb, questionable. Everson Griffin out, defensive end. Jeff Okudah done for the year. Offensive tackle Tyrell Crosby out. Defensive tackle, that was offensive tackle. Defensive tackle John Pennicini questionable. Wide receiver Kenny Golladay out. Okay. Let's go. Next up, Falcons, Chargers, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. This was a Herbert pass prop that you were interested in on the Tuesday show. I'm curious to see if you pull the trigger now, Bebsy. Falcons coming off 21-16 loss at home to the Saints. Matt Ryan, 19-39, 273 yards, 1 touchdown. Ridley and Julio Jones had big games, but Julio Jones, 4th game of the season out, lingering hamstring injury. He did catch 6 passes for 94 yards, but he's out. Calvin Ridley's going to get a ton of attention, and I guess that's the market move. Julio Jones announced out. Oh, yeah, money coming in on Chargers. Gurley looked bad returning to the lineup, 8 runs for 16 yards. Atlanta 4-3 under Morris after Dan Quinn fired after an 0-5 start. Atlanta rushed for only 70 yards in last week's loss to the Saints. Falcons have touchdowns in only 50% of their red zone possessions this season. That's 29th out of 32 teams. Safety Ricardo Allen, concussion. Offensive guard James Carpenter, groin, also out. And they're a pretty healthy group. They only have Caleb McGarry, a questionable due to personal matter, also on the injury report. Then we have the Chargers coming off one of the ugliest games franchise history, 45-0 loss home to the Patriots. Herbert, 26-53 for 209 yards and 2 picks. Keenan Allen led the receivers with 5 catches for 48 yards. Eckler, ran 8 times for 36 yards, caught 4 passes for 32 yards, needs to do more. Justin Herbert, 4th in the league in passing yards per game. He's got 8.2 more yards per game than Matt Ryan. And Keenan Allen has 9 catches in his last 2 games after setting the franchise record with 16 on November 22nd. Their special teams were just absolutely inept in the last game. Let's just quickly look at these Chargers injuries, and then we can hear what Bebsy has to say. Joe Reed, wide receiver, questionable. Linebacker Denzel Perryman, doubtful. Running back Troman Pope, questionable. And then we know the rest of them. Bebsy, take it away.
Look, I see value in taking the Chargers here. They got to respond from just an absolute drubbing last week against the Pats. I don't have enough faith in them doing it. A lot of it has to do with the coach. A lot of it has to do with I want to see how they respond as a team after getting the absolute shit knocked out of them. If you gave me a free play, I would take the Chargers in this one, but the Falcons are still a solid football team. They've been impossible to bet on at times, and they've, obviously earlier in the year were shitting the bed late in games. That Herbert pass prop, I wanted it to be a bit lower. I still think he hits it. It was at 281 before. I was hoping that, given the week he had last week, I was hoping it would be closer to 255-ish, maybe 260 even. I think there's still value in taking the prop. I would go over with a free play. I'm just not going to jump on it.
Yeah, too high at 281.5. You're asking for a 300-yard game. Okay, so that we'll just move on from that. So no moves for you in Falcons Chargers.
No, sir.
Then we move to 2 more 425 games, 4 games left on the card. I got to speed this up a little bit. Next up, Saints, Eagles. Saints open up as 7-point road favorites, now 8. The total opens up at 46, all the way down to 42 or 42.5. We talked about the Jalen Hurts rush prop. Wonder if you could look that up while I'm doing this, Bebsy. Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 55 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Saints 10-2 on the year, 5-1 on the road. Eagles 3-8-1, 2-3-1 at home. Saints coming off 21-16 win at Atlanta. Taysom Hill 27-37 for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran 14 times, 83 yards. New Orleans has won 9 straight since that 1-2 start. 8-0 over the last 2 seasons when Drew Brees is sidelined. They're playing good football. Number 1 ranked defense, giving up just 2 touchdowns past 5 games. Defensive end Cameron Jordan, 4 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss in his past 3 games. And they've won their past 2 games without left tackle Teron Armstead in. And let's see what the injury report is quickly on New Orleans. Wide receiver Deontay Harris out. Cornerback Patrick Robinson injured reserve. Defensive tackle Malcolm Brown out. And other than that, it's pretty much status quo. Any look on this game, Bebsy?
I can't bet an Eagles game right now. I really can't. The Hurts prop is at 40.5. I think it's too high personally. I think the under is a look there. Again, I really want to see what Hurts looks like in a full game before I start. If that was a lower rush prop, then I'd take the over just for fun, I think. But I can't see him hitting that. And again, this is another game I don't have a ton of interest in. I just don't see how New Orleans doesn't beat up on Philly, but again, I can see them keeping it close. So the line's too big for me. Not a ton of interest in this.
Understandably so.
I really don't like betting on quarterbacks that I've never seen start before.
Yeah, no, makes a ton of sense. Offensive tackle Jason Peters, as we know, but he's been officially put on injured reserve. Cornerback Michael Jacquet out, hamstring injury. Safety Rudy Ford out, hamstring injury. TJ Edwards, linebacker out, hamstring injury. They're hurting. Carson Wentz benched. Jalen Hurts, 2019 Heisman Trophy runner-up, takes over. Miles Sanders averaging 5.3 yards per carry, but only has 16 rushes in his past 2 games. Travis Fulgham also being ignored after a great start to the year. Philadelphia's allowed 53 sacks. Defensive tackle Fletcher Cox has 4 sacks in his past 5 games. Okay. Eric Chang says he had 5 carries, 29 rush yards for Green Bay in 1 quarter. That was when they were way behind and Packers were in pass defense, but I completely hear what you're saying. Dennis Garcia says fire Peterson. And Prince of City says that must be some good smoke of people betting the Eagles. Okay, so let's move on then. We move on to Washington, San Francisco. I took the over 43.5. That had gone up to 44 and even 44.5. It's back down to 43.5. San Francisco opens up at -4.5. They're now at -3.5. We'll go to Bebs for the Niners injury report, but we were interested in waiting for that line to get to 3 for the Niners, and now it's there. State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. San Francisco can't play at home right now due to COVID restrictions in the county. Washington coming off an impressive 23-17 win at Pittsburgh. Alex Smith, 31-46, 296 yards, 1 touchdown. Tight end Logan Thomas looked excellent, 9 catches for 98 yards. Cam Sims caught 5 catches for 92 yards. Washington's gone 3-1 after a 1-5 start. Since taking over as a starter in Week 10 after Allen got injured, Smith has completed 69% of his passes for 1,001 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, 88.2 rating. And Antonio Gibson, turf toe, didn't practice. Let's see what it's saying for him now. Here we go. Ryan Anderson, injured reserve. Antonio Gibson out. Anthony Gandy Golden, injured reserve. You know, Bebsy, I'll let you give us what you're thinking with the injury report here, but after watching Ayuk and Deebo Samuel on the field together, Nick Mullins, Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert. Newcorker says, big letdown for Washington. We're getting what we wanted. We were patient here. So talk to me about the Niners, and should we pull the trigger on the Niners -3? And what do you think about my over 43.5?
I think your over is very much in play because I just think both of these offenses right now are capable of putting up points, even with the talent of this front seven of Washington. I do see some value there with the over. I bet the farm on San Francisco. Look, I think this is a good bounce back spot for San Francisco. And I do see it as a possible letdown spot for Washington. I'm not overly excited one way or another, but I talked to you before the show, and I did mention that I was going to do a double-up prop. I think the double-up rush prop of Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert is a good look right now because one of them's getting the ball or the other one's getting the ball. So they do kind of cover each other, but I think they're both low enough to hit. Mostert's at 47.5 minus 120. Jeff Wilson Jr. is at 25.5, which I think, I mean, if you're just going to play one, jump on that. And the other thing, too, is I'm going to add a third prop in this game, which is also a San Francisco prop. But the Niners against the Bills, one of their crucial mistakes offensively was not getting Deebo Samuel involved in the game till the second half. I think Kyle Shanahan took a lot of flack for not getting the ball to Deebo in the first half. So his receiving props very low the last I checked. I'm trying to get back to it now. I don't think they make that mistake this week again. I think Deebo gets the ball early and often. And so I'm going to add that prop as well as soon as I can find it.
Why don't you find it while you're looking for it and we decide whether we're going to do the rush props? Our guy, Anthony Mastronardi, is jumped in the chat. He says, "Hey, Jimmy, my dad did pass away last Sunday. Since then, I haven't been able to focus on capping at all. I really hope after I grieve, I can get back into the capper mindset. It will be tough." Anthony, I'm so sorry to hear that. What a tough time for you and your family. Just sending so much love and light and positivity to you guys and strength. And Anthony, I know you, man. Anthony came up and hung with us in Toronto, and it's time for you to step up as big as possible and lead your family through this very, very difficult time. And you have this huge heart, and I know that you're going to dig deep and lead your family through this. And I have so much love for you, my man, and I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through this. But I've seen your strength. I've had a chance to meet you and be around your energy. And I know that you will step up and lead your family through this. And when the time is right to come to capping, come to capping. And you'll know when the time is right. But now it's time to look after your family. And thank you for stopping by. We think about you all the time. And just sending prayers and love and strength to your family, Anthony. Sorry to hear, my friend. Okay. The two rush props are interesting. Mostert and Wilson. What was the third prop, Bebsy?
The third prop I was going to add was the Deebo Samuel receiving yards, and it's 52.5.
Ooh, wow. That does make sense. Deebo, 52.5. So are you going to move on all three?
I'm going to move on all three. I think they help cover each other, and I do think there's a good chance that they can still all hit.
What do you think about the Niners -3?
I do like it. I just feel my only apprehension is Nick Mullins being very difficult to predict. He has been getting a little bit more consistent as of late, but I do think if you give me a free play, I'd take San Francisco. I'm just not super confident in that.
What do you think of the...
It doesn't matter if it's raining in San Francisco. They're playing in Arizona.
Yeah, it's Glendale State Farm. What do you think of the Washington run defense?
I think Washington has a very good run defense and a very good front seven. It's just the strength of this 49ers team is the way Mostert and Wilson just run so hard. And those guys, they stumbled a bit last week. Wilson didn't, but it was both of their first game back from injury. I expect them to be a much stronger duo this week. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think it's going to be heavy on Deebo early and heavy on the Niners rush attack.
Yeah, I think this makes a ton of sense here, and the Debo prop makes a ton of sense. I'm going to sit with these a bit. It's an afternoon game, so I don't have to force these in right away, but they make a ton of sense here. All three props make a ton of sense. Debo, Mostert, and Jeffrey Wilson. I think I'm going to be rolling with you here. I also like the Niners -3.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I do. One thing that's been nice about Kyle Shanahan is being able to bounce back after, I think, weaker coaching performances. There's been a couple of games this year, Buffalo being one of them, where, and I'm a big Kyle Shanahan fan, I just don't think he came in with the right game plan last week. And look, he's very good at coming back off of a sloppy game plan week.
Okay. I am going to move on the Niners -3 here. I think it's a nice. I was waiting for it to get 3. I'm not going to hesitate here, even though my palms are just leaking. Okay, let's get to the Steelers-Bills game. This is the Sunday nighter. Steelers 11-1, 5-0 on the road at the Bills, 9-3, 5-1 at home. I did add the Claypool props. I just felt like it was a must bet for me. There are injuries to some injuries, I should say, with the Bills. And Tre'Davious White is going to have to shadow Juju. If they have Levi Wallace on Chase Claypool, we just saw what Brandon Ayuk did to Levi Wallace. 95 yards on 5 catches and a touchdown. I moved on to Chase Claypool props. I got touchdown plus 162, and I got over 42.5 yards receiving. David Sharp said it hasn't been a Claypool game in weeks. I think it's one here. He loves the spotlight. He loves big games. Over 42.5 receiving yards, and Chase Claypool anytime touchdown. Both Bebsy and I are on Bill's first half and full game. Let's break this down deeper here. Bill Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, 35 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Steelers coming off another underwhelming performance. This time it cost them their first loss of the season against the Washington Football Club. Big Ben, 33-53, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Steelers can clinch their first AFC North title since 2017 with a win in Cleveland losing. They are now playing their 3rd game in 12 days. I know a lot of people who are bullish on the Steelers here. They have so much going against them. 3rd game in 12 days, all these injuries. Their defense is such a – what it looked like at the beginning of the year, it's not even close to that right now. Shadow of its former self. Big Ben leads the NFL with 324 completions, 484 attempts, 5th with 27 touchdown passes. James Conner expected to be back after missing 2 games with COVID. The Steelers weren't able to run the ball without him. 44 sacks, league-leading 44 sacks, and they have at least 2 in each game. TJ Watt leads the league with 12 sacks. What a beast. What an absolute beast. Let's talk about these Steelers and their injury report very quickly before we move on. Robert Spillane, injured reserve, and he'd come in for Devin Bush. Joe Hayden, cornerback, out. Vince Williams, linebacker, out. Cassius Marsh, defensive end, on injured reserve. And we knew Bud Dupree, done for the year. I mean, it's just – I think the Bills can take advantage. AFC leading Bills clinched their 3rd postseason berth. AFC East leading Bills postseason berth in 4 years. If they get a win and a bunch of losses by other contenders. Bills are coming off big 34-24 win over the Niners at Arizona. Josh Allen 32 of 40, 375 yards. Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs both had monster games. Josh Allen earns AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Stephon Diggs tied with the Chargers Keenan Allen for the league lead with 90 catches, 10 shy of the single-season record by Eric Moulds in 2002. Buffalo's forced 12 takeaways, 8 interceptions in their past 6 outings. And a lot of people coming in, Steelers smash, Pittsburgh. I've been hearing it all week, and I like the Bills here. They don't have John Brown, who's on injured reserve. Jaquan Johnson, their safety's out. I like this spot. Bebsy, we doubled up on the Bills. How do you feel about it?
I still feel good about it, to be honest with you. It has a ton to do with the Steelers' schedule. They haven't had a real bye week all season long. They've played 3 games in 12 days. They're just banged up. They're tired. The Bills are the complete opposite. They're healthy. They look great. They're rolling right now. They're leading their division. The Steelers just have too much going against them, and I still think they're a very good team. And I do think that normally, after losing that game, I would want to back the Steelers in a bounce-back situation. I just don't think that they have the juice to come and take on Buffalo right now. Buffalo has – look, they've got a great team, and I said this when they beat the Patriots. That was such a mental lift for them. And just getting that monkey off their back, finally downing the Patriots, they're rolling now. And if you take away that Hail Murray, they're undefeated since then. They've been playing great football. Josh Allen looks good. He looks decisive. Their weaponry is all in place, and their defense, they're so healthy right now on D. They finally look fantastic. So. I get why people want to jump on the Steelers here, but I'm still very confident in this Bills bet.
I love hearing that. There is the Sunday nighter. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope I have so much action. I hope that I'm in okay spirits, if not cuddled up in the corner with a bottle in my hand. There's the Sunday nighter. Let's move on to the Monday nighter here. Ravens, Browns, 9-3, 5-1. At home are these Cleveland Browns. Ravens 6-5, 4-2 on the road. Baltimore opens up at -1. They're now -3. This total opened up at 48. It's now 46. I could have got 46.5 under that last night. I probably should have. First Energy Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio, 34 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy. This is the only game where there's any kind of a wind issue. 19 miles per hour on Monday night in Cleveland. Ravens coming off 34-17 win at home over the Cowboys on Tuesday night. Jackson returned. Lamar was 12-17, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ravens averaged 7.9 yards per carry against the Cowboys. All 3 running backs were rolling and Lamar. Gus Edwards ran for 101 yards on just 7 carries. Jackson had 94. J.K. Dobbins, 71. Mark Ingram, 28. Matthew Judon and tight end Mark Andrews will be back Monday after missing 2 straight games while being on the COVID list. Des Bryant still out, whining. I don't know why that kind of puts a smile on my face. I shouldn't be smiling about that. He's such a roller coaster ride, man. Calais Campbell, questionable with the calf injury. Cornerback Jimmy Smith, groin, questionable. Jamal Williams, cornerback, thigh injury, doubtful. Luke Wilson, tight end, questionable. Des Bryant, out. Anthony Levine, senior, safety, questionable. Broderick Washington, defensive tackle, questionable. Bebsy, I like the under here. We'll talk about the Browns in a second. Is there any move you want to make?
I got a move I want you to make. Can you block Matthew Corral?
Yes.
This is just gibberish bullshit I don't care for in our chat. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look, I think I like the Browns in this one. Not enough to jump on, but I just feel like this is a team that's beat the shit out of them for the last 2 decades. And I feel like Cleveland is getting it together. They've had a very good season. They understand their limitations with their quarterbacks, so they're finally operating like through the run game and allowing Baker Mayfield to just be a game manager. And then you saw him, was it last week or the week before, really explode with some offense and some passing because it hasn't that pressure hasn't been put on him. So I think that's making Mayfield better. And I just think that the Cleveland Browns right now are a healthier, better football team than the Ravens. So I think there's value on it. Very difficult to back the Browns at all because, they're the Browns. And especially against a team like the Ravens who have dominated them so much. So I'm not so much on that play. That's where my lean would be. But and Baltimore did crush them early in the season, and I don't know if that is going to come back. The best play for me in this game would be the under.
I agree.
I think this winds up being a running slog, and I think the under is a very good look in this game.
I'm going to move on the under. I think the Browns at +3 is a nice spot that I want to have. I really do. So I'm going to move on the Browns at +3. Make sure that I've got that. Do you want me to line shop for you on the total?
Yeah.
Under 46.5, you can still get that hook. I'm not going to be able to get it. You can get it. -111 under 46.5 at Bet America. Bebsy under 46.5, -111 at Bet America. And I'm going to move on the Browns. I'm going to do the exact same that Dennis Garcia is doing. Browns +3 and under 46. I should have went in last night and got the 46.5, but whatever. Okay, so that is me, and that is our entire show. Thank you guys so much. I've got to get a bunch of bets in. We got 13 minutes before kickoff. I'm going to quickly review our action here in additions, and then Bebsy, give a best bet. We're going to move this quickly here. Before the show started, I was on Texans -1. Texans Bears over 44.5. KC Miami first half under 24. Giants +115. Vikings +6.5. Minnesota Tampa over 51.5. Washington San Francisco over 43.5. God, so much action. Bills first half -1. Bills full game -2.5. Cowboys -3. Bengals team total under 20.5. Claypool anytime touchdown. Claypool over 42.5 receiving yards. Bebsy was on Texans money line -114. KC Miami first half under 24. Giants +3. Colts first half money line. Bills first half and Bills full game. Bills first half -1, full game -1.5. Additions, nothing in Houston, Chicago. In the Cowboys game, Bebsy added Tony Pollard over 31.5 rush yards. And I'm going to tail. I added the full game under 51 at -110 in the Chiefs Dolphins. I'm not going to take the Dolphins team total under, although I like it. Shit, I gotta get these bets in, man. Maybe I will add that. God. Cardinals, Giants. You added the Gallman over 55.5 rush yards.
Yeah.
We both added Gronk over 37.5 receiving yards.
I'm gonna add Carson over 56.5 rush yards too.
In the Seattle game?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to get our 12 p.m. action in. I got to go. I got to make these bets, man.
We got to go.
Robbie Anderson over 77.5 receiving yards. We're both on in Denver, Carolina. I'm not going to take the Jaguars +7.5, although I do kind of like it. I'm going to take that off. I got enough. That's the 1 o'clock action. 4:05 action. We got a bunch of Bebsy added Colts full game. Bebsy added the team total for the Jets under 16 at -110. I added that full game under 48.5. I doubled up on the Packers runners, Jones and Jamal Williams, 65.5 and 29.5, respectively. We have no move on the Saints Eagles. Bebsy, get a best bet together, and then I'm gonna screw off here. We took off the Herbert pass prop. No.
I think my best bet is the Gallman rush props again. I think that's a well that could be gone to for a couple of weeks before the market corrects itself there. And I also think Carson's gonna run amok. I wish I added it earlier. I lost a yard. I'm still comfortable on it though.
Debo, Mostert, Jeffrey Wilson. I like all these looks, but I mean, what am I going to sit here with like huge amounts of money on that game? Maybe I can cut the prop bets to half. There'll be full units for the show, but maybe when I bet them, I'll just do
if you have one rush prop to play in that or one prop to play, I would add the Wilson.
Jeffrey Wilson.
Yeah.
I doubled up on the Chase. Oh, you already heard the Chase. So we got nothing added there in Bills, and then I added the under 46 and the Browns +3. Bebsy got under 46.5. All right, I gotta go. I gotta make these bets. Great job, Bebsy. Thank you for all of your insight. And all you guys in the chat, we got no show without you. Thank you guys so much for everything. I love you guys so much. I got to go, Bebsy. I got to make these bets.
Let's go.
Let's
go. Let's get paid.
Let's get paid in full. Much love, Bebsy. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Slad,
much love, chat.
Mr. Fun Monk, Schnizzle, Chase Warwick, David Sharp, Lonnie Mills, all you guys.
All of yous.